But I want to ask the group, do you think this is going to actually help these smaller businesses, or do you think it may put them in a tougher position? So, Mike, let me start with you. What do you think about getting these extra loans? Because they did reduce the term to 2 years from 10 years. So what is not forgiven is going to be a lot less to pay. I mean, a lot less time to pay in, so the payments will be higher. The good news is they dropped the rate down to 0.5%. You think it's going to be beneficial to most?
Let me answer the question. There's still some uncertainty. Just got off the CG call. It's unclear what's included and what's not. So the W-2 payroll is pretty obvious. The self-employed people you paid for 1099, it sounds like it's not going to be included. They're going to have to apply on their own. And it's not really clear what happens with the partners if you paid yourself as a self-employed partner. So if you were a self-employed Schedule C person, I think it's covered. If you are a partner getting paid through K1 with other partners, even guaranteed payments, it's not clear whether it's going to be covered or not. So just one comment on that, on the uncertainty of that. As far as help, for sure it'll help, right? I mean, no argument. My wife is an optometrist. We have an office, and we're closed in New York, and whatever we can get to help pay the employees. It won't help our business per se, because we're going to pass that money over to the employees. It'll be essentially keeping them on payroll, even with office closed. It's a form of a sort of a subsidy. As far as what portion of that loan will be forgivable, the chances 100% of it for most people, right? First of all, they're going to limit how much they're going to give you, 2.5 months worth of payroll. In New York, even if we let some people go, and we don't have a big staff in my wife's optical, just using an example, the rents are so significant. If we pay rent, it'll cover the remaining 25%, but 75% has to go to people. This was a fast way for the government to send extra help to W-2 employees through the businesses. To the business, it helps small businesses keep the employees that would otherwise lay off, with the hope that after 2 months, the business is back to normal, or at least some kind of reopening and you can survive. It's not great help, but it is a positive thing. Let me put it this way.
Excellent. What about you, Jacob? What do you think?
I certainly think it's going to help. It's got to be speedy, though. If there's a lot of red tape with the application process, if funding is delayed, it's not going to do what it's designed to do, and that's get money in the pockets of businesses who can cover their overhead during this kind of really soft time we're all saying. I think that there's a lot of guidance that's also come out on exactly what the rules are that Mike already touched on. But I think for the folks who really need it, people like our retail tenants, for example, who have furloughed people, they're closed, their takeout sales are maybe 5 or 10% of what they might have been if they were open it for normal business. It's going to really help those folks out, but I think speed is going to be critical. Businesses apply for this and it takes 2 months to get the funding. It's not going to do what it was designed to do, and I think what it's designed to do is buy some time. And everybody is just buying time right now. Government, small businesses, we're just trying to get through this week by week, and this will certainly help with that if it's speedy.
Glenn.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add to what the guy said. It's certainly not going to fix things, but it obviously can't hurt. It's a good thing. It does depend how fast it comes out. I was on a call last night that they're still debating still trying to figure out if a self-employed person, a partner, can take his draws and counted for payroll. I'm still waiting to get a definitive answer on that. And I'm not sure about the contract labor, but that was another issue. They didn't think so, but they were checking on that too. But it's I don't know. I hate to say it this way, but I've never seen a government program fix something. But it certainly cannot hurt. With the condition, we're in uncharted territory, and just like what Jacob said, I just hope that they process them fast, they get the money to the businesses fast. Otherwise, it's gonna it's not gonna do much good.
Well, thank you for that. You have to think about it this way too. If the government doesn't create wealth, it just redistributes it. So if they're taking it from one place and giving it to some other place, where are they getting it from? So eventually we're going to have to pay it. In my opinion, it's going to be paid in the form of more printed money and inflation, which is going to end up helping our industry anyway, because our hard assets are, I don't want to say they're inflation proof, but they're a hedge against inflation. Fukon, you got any opinion on this?
Yeah, I think it was a great move to put that in place. It's definitely going to help a lot of small business owners, give them an opportunity to float and keep their team and their staff on board. I mean, you can only imagine if you have to lay off half your team and you have to start all over again and go through that whole process, right? A lot of us have people who've been working with us for years. So it's definitely going to help the small business owner, get to that next phase. Again, like everyone else said, this depends on how fast it comes. One other thing that people should be mindful of is making sure they use it for what it's supposed to be for. So they won't get into trouble and accelerate, the due date a little faster than that. So I think it was a great move. But again, if it comes quick enough to help out, then that would be the real benefit.
I'm starting to hear that some bankers are pushing back on some of this too, because they are worried about liabilities that they may have. And then frankly, what we heard last night was that some of them are still very confused about, the rules, and we only have till tomorrow when it opens up.
As most of us are still confused.
So, Chris, you have any opinions on this?
None.
Okay.
Of course I do. Is it a good thing? I would say that's a relative term, because I would say this: it's the lesser of two evils for sure. It's kind of like a plane spiraling to Earth. It's about to crash and burn, but instead we're putting wings on it, so at least it kind of glidens it, and we only crash a little bit. That's kind of what I see, right? Like I see that this definitely helps. It helps the average worker and that sort of thing, and keeping money circulating, because exchange in the economy is the key thing.
Right.
But I think the hardest thing right now is I think we're going to see a weeding out, right? Where the crash and burn would say, great, we just have to rise from the ashes, right? This situation is definitely better than that. I see this as more of a weeding, a sifting of the wheat and the tares. You're going to start seeing the companies that will they use it, to actually help the payroll go, or are they going down anyways because they have too much debt servicing going on in their companies? Other things, are they trying to use that money to say, I'm just trying to stay afloat because of other expenses and other issues going on, or refund requests, or whatever it might be. So I see that this probably won't be enough, for a lot of these companies. For some, I think it'll be great, and they'll weather through it just fine. But I think this is going to be a little bit harder than some people are expecting. And the next question is going to be, are they going to do it again? They have to kind of keep pumping money out, and where's that money have to keep coming from? That's the thing that I'm scared of,
Right. Well, I mean, I agree with you. It's not exactly the ballistically deployed parachute landing that we would like to see, but we had a lot of industries that were already over leveraged and low margin type of companies that were getting fewer sales anyway. And I don't want to point out any particular companies. Let's say that the higher end apparel brick and mortar type of companies there, those people were working with pretty slim margins to begin with.
Well, I mean, just
with
think
the
about
overhead.
30% of all publicly traded companies don't earn more than their debt that they have to pay. So, I mean, there's a third of them right there that, this doesn't really help that much.
Yeah. Well, not to mention a lot of the new IPOs that aren't making any money.
Yeah, there's a lot of not making money.
And they don't project to make money for several years, and now they're not getting nearly as many rides as they used to.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the benefits that we have now, where inflation isn't going to show up right away, is that the rest of the world is still looking at America as the place to invest. So it is keeping the dollar fairly strong compared to all the other countries. So that's going to help us, at least in the short run. When these other countries start getting back up and producing again, that inflation might start hitting us because of all the money we're printing. But you're right. We're going to have a shift in the industries. It doesn't mean it's going to go. Certain industries are going to go away. Certain businesses are going to go away. But I think other businesses are going to take up the slack. It's all going to be, to me, it's going to be behavioral. Things are going to change. And fortunately, we're in the business that we're all fairly nimble, that we can change along with it, right?
Mm-hmm.